Yes, I cleaned my bookshelf out and I found my childhood songbook, and the first song I wrote was called Sparks, and it was literally like the most default song like a 10-year-old could write about sparks. Like it mentions like fire 8 times. It's awful. I'm writing about like heartbreak and I was in elementary school.
So I know, I can absolutely remember the first song that I wrote, but I never speak of it, and it was horrible. It was an awful song. But it was a learning process, I think, for me. So I definitely learned a little bit, I learned about what I did not want to.
So the first song I ever wrote was a joke song. I wrote it about my dog when I was 16.
No, I cannot remember the first song I wrote. Wait, yes I can. It was called Chicken Chicken Salad. And it was about, I found a pic on the band trip to Montreal on the floor in McDonald's.
When I was a kid, I used to walk home from school alone and sing songs. And like write little songs, and I would like work on one for a week, and then the next week I would have one. I would just belt it walking up the street going home, right? And I can't remember the lyrics, but I know that like 4 months later, it was Christmas time, and I was watching, I think it was Much Music, and S Club came out with a new Christmas song, and it was my song. And it was like a typical like sort of what you would imagine kind of like a slow Christmas pop song would sound like. But I'll never forget it. S Club totally ripped me off.
The first song I ever wrote was just a little tiny chorus, and I was really young. I don't even remember writing it, I just know that I did. And I have videos of me singing it, and it was called Pink on One Side. And then I recorded my first song, like I said, when I was 7 or 8, and that was called Nightlife. And it was my first pop song ever. It was really fun.
I took guitar lessons from Mike Uliliev at the House of Rock. I remember going there and sharing with him the first song I ever wrote, but I don't remember how the song goes. And it was kind of like an anthem I was getting out of like crazy nasty relationship at the time, and I was really finding, comfort in my circle of friends, and it was really just sort of an homage to that time. And it's interesting that that's evaporated from my memory, even though I remember finishing it and I remember sharing it, but I don't quite remember. And it's odd because like with tons of other things I've written, I'll pull out an old piece of paper that I haven't seen in 10 years and I instantly know, oh, here's how the melody goes, here's how the hook goes, here's how everything goes. Like I remember what it sounded like when I wrote it down. And that one, it's gone, which is great because it's probably best.
It was in grade 9 or 10. My sister and I did it together. It was hilarious. It was a funny song. But yeah, and it was about like this boy that just being a jerk. So song about it.
Yes, I can. It was called Candy. It was like a cheesy teenager love song. And like so many people made fun of me for it and would sing it to me.
It was about my ex-boyfriend. I was in grade 9 and we had broken up. I had written a song about it and the words were very plain, very straight to the point. The melody wasn't that bad, but yeah, that was the first song that I wrote.
Feeling Blue would have been one of the first ones. My mom used to get me to sing it to her while she was making cabbage rolls at Christmas time and things like that.
The first song that I wrote was actually Easy, and that's the song that I played earlier. And that was actually, it came super quick. I was rocking my baby to sleep, actually, and the melody and the words just came to me, and I got her down to bed, ran downstairs, grabbed a guitar, and wrote in like 15 minutes.
The first song that I wrote more seriously was called Songs About Tequila. And I pulled in different songs that had tequila in the lyrics and put them into my own verses. And then the chorus was, I wish I could sing you all these songs about tequila. And it was a love song, but I thought it was cute, but it was kind of cool too.
I wrote it for my mother, actually. And yeah, it's quite a personal song for her, and she inspired me to write it. She was one of the greatest ladies in my life, so it was, yeah, for her.
The first song that I wrote was a co-write, and it was, the words were written by a friend of mine, and he finished this, it looked like a poem, and he gave it to me, and he said, "This needs music, you put music to it." I said, "I don't know how to do that." He said, "Just do it." And I did it, and I didn't actually find it all that hard. So that was a real boost to my confidence.
Yep, it was How I Speak to You. So it was in 2014, I think.
I remember bits and pieces of it. I'm really embarrassed to say that I think it was a really great song, and I'd probably still play it today. But I lost it, and I lost track of it. Was before you could record melodies and stuff, so the melody kind of changed and it morphed, and then it kind of wasn't that great, and Emily and I kind of let it go, and then a few years later we were like, "What's about that song you wrote?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's lost forever." Like I didn't, so no, I can't.
I don't think I can remember the first song I ever wrote. I have no idea, but I do know when my sister and I recorded our record, the one we did with Jamie Folds, the only record that we did, but Jamie Folds is cool, so I like to throw his name out there. We were running a little short for songs, and I always kept a diary. It wasn't always, today is Sunday, July, whatever date this year. It was more just little entries of emotions. Sometimes it was an image or a poem or something. So I gathered some things that I had written over the years, and we just wanted a little more material. And I know that I had written without an instrument. I was working at a gym early mornings after working very late nights at bars here in Sydney. I wrote these songs, and I just kind of dug one out, and it's called Don't Wait Up, and it's on the record. We put it on there. By the time my sister got her hands on it, and Jamie Folds, and we kind of manipulated it into a little bit more of a complex tune. It is not a complex song, and you can tell that it is one of the first songs I ever wrote, but it says a lot, and the way that it's recorded through Jamie, his ideas were cool. It's called Don't Wait Up, and it's on the record. I'm pretty happy to have that there.
I've actually found some tapes that my parents have recorded, or my grandmother, of me just singing songs, but those I don't even count because I can't even remember writing them. But the first song that I've officially written, I was 11 years old in grade 5, and I have always been a worrier. I've always been an anxious person, an anxious child. So at 11 years old, I wrote a song about if I could be anything I wanted to be in the whole world, life would be so much easier. So that was my first song. My mom to this day still says it's her favorite that I've written. I've actually recorded it on my first album about 6-7 years ago. So it's not the worst song that I've written because it made it on the album, but I'm very proud of that song. I remember playing it in one of our, talent shows at school. We had made a small show for our parents with our grade 5 class, and I had sung that song on the big grand piano in the middle of the stage, and everyone was so amazed. And when you're young, you don't realize what you're accomplishing and how big it is because you're young and you think you're old. But looking back at it now, I find it pretty cool.
You were coming home, I was smiling in my bones. I was smiling in my bones. I was smiling in my soul. Amen. Well, hallelujah.